Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Patholkas, and tonight it's Gotham Season 5, Episode 4, Ruin. Not a bad episode, kind of interesting episode. And for those of you following, of course, along, it is the last season of Gotham. Looks like they are, trying to do as much crap as possible before they end here. So before I get started, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you haven't seen the episode, go and watch it, then come on back. This will be a video. And you can go and watch it there, and you can comment down below in the comments section. So, and no, I am not doing Orville tonight, by the way. I promised last week that that was the last Orville episode that I was doing, and I'm off of it. So, and yes, I watched this week's episode, and definitely a Viking bitch. Hey, what's going on? She goes, hey Dennis, I don't watch this show, but I wanted to say hello and give you the thumbs up. Thanks, Viking bitch. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's Batman, and it's crazy Batman at this point. And young Batman and all kinds of weird stuff. So I don't blame you. I was just discussing with Morks about Orville, which the less said the better. So anyway, we start off, of course, in the aftermath of the explosion over at Haven, and Barbara has Penguin in her sights, and she lets him go and kind of wanders off. Jim, of course, directs triage, and they start, of course, going through the rubble looking for survivors and stuff like that. And Harvey brings over Jim's damaged badge, which is all scorched. One of the cops found it in the wreckage, so we know the kid that he gave it to is more than likely dead at this point. So Jim's talking to his mystery woman on the radio and telling them that 311 people have died. There's others that are missing, and she keeps promising help because you've been promising help for weeks and it hasn't come. So you know what, screw you. And he turns off the radio. And downstairs we have all the denizens of Haven that are left are basically pretty pissed off. They want to know who did it, who blew it up, and they're not getting consoled by Jim's words, saying that, you know what, yeah, he's angry, he wants to find it. So yeah, it's he's not having a good day. So we cut back over to Bruce, and he's still handcuffed to the gate that Selina had handcuffed him to. And two guys start coming by. It's Jeremiah's goons. They're coming on either side of the pool there. One's got a lead pipe. He fights them off while handcuffed, beats them down, and a third guy shows up with a gun, and it looks like Bruce is done for. But who comes in to save him but Alfred? Because Alfred heard Bruce's signal. He's got a little signal that he set off. Hey, Penn Farm Girl. I got stuck at work and got home just in time for Orville. I'll have to watch this tomorrow after I see the show. Have fun. Yeah, thanks, Penn Farm Girl. I don't blame you. Yes, Joe Greer, Alfred Pennyworth shows up and saves the day. And Bruce tells Alfred about what happened with Selina, that Selina went off to go and find Jeremiah and handcuffed him there. That's why he's got all his weapons on him and everything like that. And as Alfred is unlocking the handcuff, he gives him some sage advice about Selina that, he can't save her. He can't save her from herself. So, yeah. Jim goes over to Barbara to ask if she was responsible for the bombing. And of course she says no. And they need to find out who blew it up. So they should be working together. And, but not with Penguin. She's, still dead set against working with Penguin, even though she had the chance to kill him, but didn't. And she said she heard a rumor about some shady guy that was hanging around Haven beforehand and knows where he's staying and gives Jim the location of that. And yeah, she basically says to him that they should work together to find this guy. So Harvey calls Jim and at that point in time and says they have a problem. And when he gets to Haven, back over there, who's there but Penguin with his guys? They're all armed. And Jim thinks the worst, but Penguin's like, nope, I'm here to give you weapons, ammo, whatever you need. We're going to go and find this guy, and we're going to kill him because that was wrong. He killed my people too, all this kind of stuff. So they're going to go and do that. In the meantime, Ed Nigma wakes up and he's got a suitcase sitting on the bed, which he opens up and he finds it's empty. He's like, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go on a trip? Did I just come back from a trip? And then he notices there's some writing on his hand too, and it's smeared because, of course, he had wiped his forehead with his hand, and the ink smeared out. And so he sees that it's an inmate with a number, and the inmate knows. So that's what he knows at this point. And so he decides that he's going to go over and find out who this inmate is from Blackgate. Excuse me. So GCD and the Penguin go over to the area the barber said this shady guy was at. And of course, they're trying to go quietly until Penguin pulls out the bullhorn and announces their presence. And he gets the bullhorn shot out of his hand. And who is up there with a sniper rifle but Zaz? Zaz. He's up there. And he does not want to have anything to do with these guys. He's like, I didn't blow up the place. Go away. And of course, they don't believe him. So Jim has Penguin and his guys actually lay down some cover fire while he gets into the building, takes down Zaz, handcuffs him, and he's going to bring him back and interrogate him with Harvey back at the GCPD. In the meantime, Ed has snuck into GCPD to get the inmate files and runs into Lucius. Lucius finds him, grabs the file out of his hand, and says, you know what, Ed, I hate to admit it, but I need your help. I need your help to find out who blew up Haven. He goes, explosives are not my expertise, but I know they're yours. So he says, we'll make a deal, the file for your help. And Ed, of course, has no other choice but to agree to that. In the meantime, Zaz is being interrogated by Harvey and Jim. And of course says he didn't do it. He didn't blow up the place because he wouldn't take credit for other people's work. And also he would be, if he had killed that many people, his whole body would be covered in fresh cuts, which he would allow them to examine. And he even has a special officer in mind because that officer is, as he puts it, he's kind of cute. So, in the meantime, we have Selena is following Jeremiah's acolytes, and she finds out that they are actually working in the tunnel, that tunnel that's going from Gotham to the mainland that was being dug by the kids. And now it's Jeremiah's acolytes that are actually digging this tunnel. And the overseer of that tunnel, of course, was the same guy who had the kids. And he's telling Jeremiah, Jeremiah shows up, of course, and he tells him, you know, my guys need to have a little bit of a rest here because we're going to work them to death. And what is Jeremiah's response? Is to cut the guy's throat and tell all the workers they need to dig a little deeper, because if they don't dig a little deeper, they're never going to get out of this thing alive. Yeah, so Selena ends up having the great idea of disguising herself as a tunnel worker, and Echo shows up and says, basically that she ran into Bruce Wayne and Selena's walking again. And Selena's actually, a decent fighter, and she's looking forward to killing him. And of course, they do a little dance, a Joker Harley kind of dance, even though we know that Echo is not really Harley. They keep alluding to this, that she is, and that Jeremiah is Joker and all of this. I'm still not convinced on this at all. I know they're playing the game, that they're dancing around this, and I know they're trying to go that direction with them, but I'm pretty sure they are not Joker and Harley at this point. So we see Ed and Lucius walking through the bomb site, and Ed says that it would take at least 20 cubic feet of gunpowder and nitro in order to make the blast here. But he also noticed that there's glass blown inward, and that they're right next to where the heating oil was for the building. A big tank of heating oil. So this is where the explosion occurred. And then they noticed that the window had been blown in instead of out. And they find pieces of an RPG. So that is what's caused the explosion. And it came from the roof across the street. So that's where they need to go next, to go and see where this thing had come from. Excuse me. Again, we have Zaz being interrogated by Jim and Harvey, and Lucius tells Jim over the radio that an RPG blew up the heating oil area from the roof, and that Zaz was seen on the ground right before the explosion, seen leaving the building. So it couldn't have been Zaz because, of course, he wasn't on the roof at the time. And the Penguin comes in and goes, you know what? This is kind of bullshit. We need to have a trial. Someone needs to go on trial. We're gonna have a trial for Zaz at this point. And there's nothing Jim can do about it because, of course, he brings his guys in with all the guns. So Ed and Lucius get up to the roof where the RPG was fired and find the case up there, but not the launcher. And Lucius, true to his word, gives Ed the file back and says, okay, we're good. And he leaves. And Ed goes leafing through the file and finds that the inmate is dead. And he's like, shit, where the hell am I, what am I doing at this point? And in the midst of throwing the file around, he looks across from the roof and sees an old woman in a wheelchair in the building across the way. And she obviously saw whoever was on top of the roof. And he's going to go over and talk to her. He tries calling her, of course, but she can't hear anything. In the meantime, Penguin's holding a kangaroo court for Zaz. And he's got all these witnesses, supposedly, that saw Zaz there. And he's gagged Zaz, so Zaz can't talk, of course. And they find, he brings Jim out to see if he's got any final words on this, of course. And Jim tells the crowd that it was an RPG that blew up the heating oil area and that Zaz was not responsible. And he tries to give a rousing speech again, and it doesn't work. The crowd decides to kill Zaz anyway at this point because they're pissed. They've had enough. And Jim even tells them that, help might not be coming and they may be on their own. And that is this the way they want justice to prevail, is by just killing someone that wasn't even responsible for this thing. And of course, their response is, yeah, sure, we're going to go and kill somebody. So Zaz is brought to a guillotine, which they conveniently have nearby, which I'm pretty sure came from a museum. And Penguin asks if he has any last words, which is kind of funny because he's got his mouth gagged. And of course, he decides to talk. And it seems like it's a lengthy discussion. And Penguin says, well said, puts his head down there. And that's when Harvey and Jim decide to break Zaz out. They have their guns, and they break Zaz out of there. And so they drive Zaz out into the wild. They're going to release him. Jim's idea is to release him. And Harvey's like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you releasing him? And he knows that they can't go back to Haven, of course, because Penguin's guys will just show up. So they're just going to release him. And Zaz says, this city's ours. It's always been bad guys like me that have run the city, which pisses Jim off immensely. And he tells Harvey to give him his gun. And Harvey, of course, does not want to do it. And Zaz is like, if we have the shootout, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to kill Harvey. So do you really want to do this? And he keeps telling Harvey, give him your gun. Give him your gun. We're going to have it out here and now. And Harvey's going to give him his gun. And Zaz's like, you look kind of tired. Maybe we'll do this another day. And Zaz is the one that actually stands down and walks away. And of course, Harvey's pissed and says, don't ever ask me to do that again, because I won't. Bruce and Alfred, in the meantime, are taking out Jeremiah's workers. Batman style, they're just kind of skulking around in the darkness, taking them out, and freak out Selena because she's dressed as one of the workers, and they kind of move around her as they're taking these guys out. And Jeremiah's outside, near the tunnel there, giving his diggers a pep talk about, what do we do? Dig deeper. And they're you could tell they're on their last legs kind of thing. And he's just making them dig and dig and dig until they drop. He doesn't care. Echo decides to come up to him, and we see her. She's got her, whatever that thing is. It looks like she's wrapped in a flag kind of thing, and stabs him right in the stomach. And she goes, is that deep enough for you? And it's actually Selena, disguised as Echo at this point. And he tries to say something witty, of course, and she pulls out the knife and jabs back in again. And then she just starts prison-style shanking him. I literally just, And at this point, Bruce and Alfred have come in. Bruce grabs her hand and goes, that's enough. He's trying to get her out. That's when the goons start attacking. And they get her out of there as Bruce and Alfred have beaten back some of the goons and take her out. In the meantime, Jeremiah's laying there dead on the floor from what it looks like. and gas has gone off too, a little gas canister. I believe the Scarecrow's fear gas. So yeah, it wasn't a ninja shanking more, because that was a prison shank. She just, it was like 1, 2, 3, and then she just started going nuts, just pulling it out and just really just going to town on him. It's probably like about 15 times she hit him too. So Ed goes over to the old woman's apartment, and she opens up the door when he knocks and goes, "Oh, it's you." And she tries to close the door again. He, of course, forces his way in. He goes, "Do you know who was across the way who fired the grenade?" She goes, "It was you. You were the one who did it." And he's like, "No, it couldn't have been me." We all knew this at this point in time. And as he turns around to look out the window, she hits him in the head with a vase, which jogs his memory a little bit more. And she hits him again, and she hits him a third time, and his memory comes back as to what it is. And he realizes that what he wrote down on his hand was the old woman knows, in the old woman in 1215 knows. And it was a street address right across the way. And he, of course, has to get rid of her and pushes her wheelchair out the window with her in it. And she goes flying down to the car below. So at this point, we have Barbara going over to Jim. Jim is sitting there drinking in the dark for the most part. She says, "You don't have your signal on anymore. What happened? Did you lose your faith?" Kind of thing. And she says she knows who the guy is who sells RPGs, and said she heard that a few of his guys actually defected and went over to Penguin. So, of course, he's down in the dumps, and he's like, "Not now, Barbara. Go away. Go away." And finally, she does not go away, and she comes over, and they kiss passionately, and we fade to black. So not the greatest episode, but also not horrible. We got a prison shanking. We've seen Jeremiah now. Who knows what happened to Echo? I mean, and then also, is the gas going to revive a dead Jeremiah? Is what I'm thinking is going to happen. We'll know next week at this point in time. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm liking the season. It's okay. It's not fantastic. It's got its moments here and there, but I do like the guy who plays the Penguin. I can't remember his name offhand at the moment, but good actor, and he is and Barbara too. Barbara is just crazy when she actually gets some good scenes. She plays crazy very, very well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. Morix, what did you think? Did you see it or no? Were you able to take a look at it? Or are you still here? All right. Well, so you're halfway through, Joe Greer. Okay, got it. Oh, you saw the end. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so tomorrow night is going to be Future Man. It might be a little bit later than usual. I don't know at the moment. Times may change on that. And then, of course, Saturday is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off. And there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, there's been so many trailers that dropped today alone that there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. Mork says, Future Man is awesome. I got 2 friends hooked on it. They love Fox. Wolf, you mean? Or The Boys? Yes, The Boys dropped today as well. Very awesome. Umbrella Academy. Oh my God, that was absolutely brilliant. I really want to see that. No problem, Morks. I'm actually wrapping up right now. So if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, depending on what you think about it. And also, if you want to see when I'm going to have my next video come out, you can hit the little bell as well. That will notify you when I'm going to be doing the next video. And you'll see a little subscribe button up here. And over here, you're probably going to see like something that looks like a video of, it's going to take from my video library what matches your interest to the best of its ability. Take a look at those. See if you like what you see. If you're not a subscriber as of yet, even if you are a subscriber, see what you see there. Other than that, I'm going to let you guys go for the evening. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may get shanked by not a Harley. Good night, everybody.